7 North Korean ballistic missiles launch toward Japan. Missile number 4 malfunctions and spirals back toward Pyongyang with 900-kilogram warhead. What happens in the next 4 minutes exposes the deadly gamble of Kim Jong Un's missile program. November 1, 2025. 5:47 a.m. Korea Standard Time, Tongchang-ri Launch Facility, North Korea. 7 Hwasong-12 intermediate-range ballistic missiles ignite simultaneously in the largest single missile test since 2017. Target area: Sea of Japan, 800 kilometers from Tokyo. Objective: intimidate Japan, demonstrate capability, extract diplomatic concessions. Kim Jong Un personally approved the launch sequence. State media prepared propaganda about invincible Korean weapons. But missile number 4 had guidance computer errors nobody detected during pre-flight checks. And in 4 minutes, North Korea's show of strength becomes catastrophic failure, threatening its own capital. The stakes define Kim's regime's survival. North Korea's nuclear and missile programs cost $8 billion over 15 years. Money extracted from starving population. Resources diverted from basic infrastructure. The weapons provide regime security and international leverage. Failure undermines both. This test was supposed to pressure Japan into relaxing sanctions. Instead, it would expose technical incompetence and create diplomatic crisis, endangering Kim's rule. Marshal Ri Pyong-chol commanded North Korea's strategic rocket forces from underground command bunker 40 kilometers from Pyongyang. He'd overseen missile development since 2012. Hwasong-12 represented significant achievement: 12-meter length, 1,200-kilometer range, capable of reaching Guam with nuclear warhead. Previous tests showed 70% success rate, not perfect, but acceptable for weapons designed to deter, not fight. 7 simultaneous launches would demonstrate mass strike capability. Overwhelm enemy defenses through volume. Standard doctrine for nation with unreliable technology. The missiles cost $4 million each to produce. Liquid fuel engines requiring extensive preparation. Mobile launchers providing some survivability against preemptive strikes. Each Hwasong-12 carried 900-kilogram dummy warhead for this test. In actual war, that payload would be 150-kiloton nuclear weapon, enough to level city center. Kim's strategy depended on adversaries believing North Korea would use these weapons if provoked. Credibility required regular testing. Today's launch would reinforce that credibility, or destroy it completely. Re-studied launch checklist for 100th time. Weather conditions: acceptable. Wind speed: 12 knots. Cloud cover: minimal. Tracking radars: operational. Safety protocols: acknowledged. Each missile had been inspected by 3 separate teams. Fuel loaded under supervision. Guidance computers programmed with target coordinates. Everything appeared ready. But North Korean quality control was inconsistent. Corners cut to meet Kim's deadlines. Parts substituted when originals unavailable. Testing procedures abbreviated to save resources. The entire system operated on acceptable risk rather than guaranteed reliability. But what they didn't know was that Missile 4's inertial navigation unit had intermittent connection fault. Ground testing showed normal function, but vibration from launch would loosen critical circuit board. The fault would manifest 80 seconds into flight. And once ballistic missile loses navigation, it becomes unguided projectile subject only to physics and luck. What's your weapon of choice? Type A for reliable weapon systems. Type B for mass quantity despite risks. Launch sequence initiated at 5:47 a.m. 7 missiles ignited within 3-second window. Liquid fuel engines roared to full thrust. Each missile generated 280,000 pounds of force. The ground shook, exhaust flames visible for 90 kilometers. Launch cradles released at calculated moment. 7 Hwasong-12 missiles climbed into morning sky. Telemetry confirmed proper trajectories. Rai watched status displays showing normal ascent profiles. All 7 missiles reporting green status. Altitude increasing. Velocity building. Everything proceeding according to plan. Japanese self-defense force detected launches immediately. Early warning radars tracked 7 ballistic trajectories. J-Alert emergency system activated across northern Japan. Air raid sirens wailed in Hokkaido. Train systems halted. Population directed to shelters. Estimated impact time, 11 minutes. Patriot air defense batteries went to maximum alert. Aegis destroyers positioned in Sea of Japan prepared SM-3 interceptors. Japan had 8 minutes to decide whether to shoot down missiles in international airspace. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command received alerts simultaneously. Satellite infrared sensors detected launch signatures. Space-based tracking systems calculated trajectories. Data transmitted to Japan and South Korea within 15 seconds. American Aegis destroyers in the region prepared engagement solutions, but rules of engagement required Japanese authorization before U.S. forces could fire. Everyone waited to see if missiles would threaten land or fall into ocean as intended. At 5:48:20 a.m., Missile 4 reached 85 seconds of flight. Altitude, 34 kilometers. Velocity, 2,400 meters per second. The guidance computer experienced critical failure. Circuit board connection separated under vibration stress. Navigation solution corrupted. The missile's computer attempted to compensate, switch to backup systems. But backup had identical fault, total navigation failure. The Hwasong-12 no longer knew its position, velocity, or intended trajectory. Engine continued burning. But without guidance corrections, the missile began responding to aerodynamic forces randomly. Ri's console showed Missile 4 telemetry dropout at 5:48:23 a.m. Red warning indicators, loss of guidance signal. Last known position showed trajectory deviation. The missile was off course. How far off course? Unknown. Current heading? Unknown. Whether it would continue toward Japan or fall somewhere else? Unknown. Ri's greatest fear was materializing in real time. Unreliable technology failing at worst possible moment. He had no ability to destruct the missile remotely. North Korean rockets lacked such safety systems. Once launched, they flew until fuel exhausted or impact occurred. Tracking radars attempted to maintain lock on Missile 4. Difficult. The weapon was tumbling, changing orientation, radar cross-section fluctuating. Computer projections showed possible trajectories spreading across 200-kilometer arc. Some paths led to Sea of Japan, some toward South Korea, some curving back toward North Korean territory, and one projection, low probability but terrifying, showed trajectory toward Pyongyang metropolitan area. 3.1 million people, including Kim Jong Un's primary residence. Japanese defense systems faced impossible decision. Shoot down erratic missile that might hit Japan, or wait to determine actual trajectory. SM-3 interceptors cost $12 million each. Shooting blindly at tumbling target would waste missiles. But waiting risked letting threat reach Japanese territory. Defense Minister authorized engagement at 5:48:55 a.m. 2 Aegis destroyers launched 4 SM-3 Block 2A missiles. Target, the erratic Hwasong-12. Intercept probability, 35%. Low but better than nothing. What would you have done when your own missile went rogue heading toward unpredictable impact? Comment your answer below. The SM-3 interceptors climbed at 4,500 meters per second. Exoatmospheric kill vehicles separated from boosters. Infrared seekers locked on Missile 4's hot exhaust plume. but the target was tumbling, presenting changing thermal signature. First interceptor missed by 800 meters, second missed by 200 meters, third achieved proximity but tumbling prevented direct impact. Fourth interceptor lost lock completely. All 4 SM-3s failed to destroy the rogue missile. Japan had just spent $48 million without result, and Hwasong-12 No. 4 continued its unpredictable flight. Missile 4's fuel exhausted at 5:49:17 a.m., 157 seconds total burn time. Final altitude, 89 kilometers. Final velocity, 3,200 meters per second. Now the weapon was pure ballistic projectile. Trajectory determined by physics alone. No more course corrections possible. The missile arced over its apogee, began descending. Atmospheric re-entry would occur in approximately 90 seconds. Impact somewhere in 2 minutes 40 seconds. North Korean tracking stations calculated probable impact zones. 3 scenarios emerged. Scenario A, Sea of Japan, 200 kilometers from intended target. Embarrassing but harmless. Scenario B, South Korean territory near DMZ, catastrophic diplomatic crisis, possible war. Scenario C, North Korean territory, potentially near populated areas. Unthinkable. State propaganda couldn't spin missile hitting their own nation. The projection computers couldn't determine which scenario with certainty. All 3 remained possible until final trajectory was established. Ri attempted to contact Kim's bunker, inform Supreme Leader of malfunction. But communication protocols required routing through multiple checkpoints. Each official hesitated before forwarding bad news upward. Kim wouldn't learn about the crisis until missile had already impacted. Ri was alone with his catastrophe. If the missile hit North Korean territory, he'd be executed. If it hit South Korea, he'd be executed for starting war. If it fell harmlessly in ocean, he'd be demoted for weapon malfunction. All outcomes were bad, but some were worse than others. The missile re-entered atmosphere at 5:50:14 a.m. Friction heating began immediately. Nose cone temperature exceeded 2,000 degrees Celsius. Tumbling intensified. The weapon was coming apart. Thermal stress fracturing welds. Aerodynamic forces tearing components loose. But the 900-kilogram warhead section remained intact, falling toward Earth at 2,800 meters per second, 180 seconds to impact. Satellite tracking determined final trajectory. The missile would impact North Korean territory, specifically 23 kilometers northwest of Pyongyang. Rural agricultural area, low population density, not the city center, but North Korean soil nonetheless. Kim's invincible weapons were about to crater his own country. The propaganda disaster would be massive. International ridicule inevitable. Domestic questions about military competence dangerous. At 5:51:47 a.m., Hwasong-12 Missile 4 impacted North Korean farmland. The 900-kilogram dummy warhead struck at 2,600 meters per second. Kinetic energy alone created explosion equivalent to 400 kilograms of TNT. Crater diameter, 18 meters. Depth, 6 meters. Debris scattered across 300-meter radius. 3 farm buildings destroyed. 7 civilians killed. 14 injured. Livestock casualties significant. Rice paddies contaminated with rocket fuel residue. And physical evidence of North Korean missile failure spread across impact site for anyone to examine. South Korean intelligence detected impact through seismic sensors. Magnitude 2.1 tremor. Location determined within 4 minutes. Satellite tasking confirmed crater in North Korean territory. Images showed wreckage with Korean markings. Missile debris clearly identifiable. South Korean media reported story within 30 minutes. North Korean missile hits own territory during test. International news services picked up immediately. Global humiliation for Pyongyang was instant and comprehensive. Kim Jong Un received notification at 6:04 a.m. His rage was immediate and predictable. Ri Pyong-chol arrested within the hour, charged with sabotage and treason. Public execution scheduled within days. But killing Ri wouldn't erase the failure, wouldn't stop international laughter, wouldn't restore credibility to missile program. The damage was permanent. Japan lifted air raid alerts at 6:09 a.m., declared no threat to Japanese territory, but military remained on heightened alert. Trust in North Korean competence was shattered. If they couldn't control their own missiles, accidental launch toward Japan became serious concern. Japanese defense spending requests would increase. Missile defense systems would receive priority funding. Kim's failed test had strengthened Japan's military posture instead of intimidating them. If this kind of investigative military analysis provides insights you can't get elsewhere, consider subscribing so you never miss our tactical breakdowns. The 6 successful missiles completed their trajectories. All impacted Sea of Japan within designated target zone. But nobody cared about the successes. Media focused entirely on the failure. North Korea's missile hits North Korea. The headline wrote itself. State propaganda attempted damage control, claimed successful test of new trajectory, denied any malfunction, but satellite imagery proved otherwise. Crater in North Korean farmland contradicted every official statement. Chinese government privately expressed anger to Pyongyang. Failed missile test made China look bad by association. Increased pressure for UN sanctions. Complicated China's efforts to protect North Korea diplomatically. Beijing's patience with Kim's provocations was wearing thin. This incident accelerated that trend. Future Chinese support became less certain. United States observed with professional interest. North Korean missiles had 30% failure rate. If actual war occurred, significant percentage of launches would malfunction. American missile defenses only needed to stop 70% of working systems, plus whatever percentage failed on their own. The odds favored American defense. Kim's weapons were threatening, but not reliable enough to guarantee success. That assessment shaped U.S. strategic planning. Russia's military analysts noted quality control issues with special attention. Their own missile programs sometimes experienced similar problems, but North Korean failure rate was much higher. Russian engineers studying North Korean technology concluded that indigenous production without foreign expertise created systematic reliability issues. Lesson learned: self-sufficiency in complex weapons systems requires industrial base North Korea lacked. The 7 dead civilians became awkward problem for regime. Their families couldn't be told the truth. Official story: American sabotage caused explosion. Compensation provided with strict instructions about what to say. But rumors spread. Village populations knew missile had fallen from sky, knew it was Korean weapon. The regime's lies became transparent to people who witnessed reality. Was this malfunction a technical failure or symptom of deeper systemic problems? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Wreckage recovery operations began immediately. North Korean military cordoned off impact site, collected every fragment, transported pieces to analysis facility. Engineers would study failure modes, attempt to determine root cause, improve future designs. But fundamental problem remained. North Korea lacked resources for rigorous testing and quality control. They could identify problems, couldn't necessarily fix them. Economic sanctions limited access to high-quality components. Domestic industry couldn't produce precision parts reliably. The missile program operated under constraints that guaranteed continued failures. International nuclear monitoring organizations noted the incident carefully. If North Korea attached actual nuclear warhead to malfunctioning missile, radioactive contamination would spread across their own territory. Nuclear safety protocols appeared inadequate. Risk of accidental detonation or dispersal existed. That made North Korean weapons dangerous to everyone, including North Korea. Japan accelerated plans for integrated air and missile defense. The rogue missile demonstrated that threats could come from unexpected directions. Comprehensive radar coverage, multiple interceptor types, layered defenses, all received increased funding priority. North Korean incompetence paradoxically increased Japanese security spending more effectively than North Korean competence would have. South Korea's military revised threat assessments. Previous models assumed 70% missile reliability. New estimates dropped to 60%. But that also meant 40% of North Korean arsenal might malfunction, could work in South Korea's favor during conflict. Missile defense systems only needed to handle successful launches. Natural failure rate helped defenders. Strange calculus of unreliable enemy weapons. This level of detailed military analysis and technical assessment takes extensive research. If you appreciate comprehensive coverage, hit that like button and share this with anyone interested in real weapons capabilities versus propaganda. Jong Un's international credibility suffered lasting damage. Every future missile test would be viewed through lens of October 27th failure. Claims of invincible weapons rang hollow when missiles hit their own territory. Diplomatic negotiations became harder when adversaries laughed at your military prowess. The reputational cost exceeded any material losses. Ri Pyong-chol's execution occurred on November 3rd. Anti-aircraft guns. Public. Televised for internal propaganda. He became scapegoat for systemic failures beyond his control. His death changed nothing. Next missile commander would face same resource constraints, same quality control issues, same pressure to meet impossible standards with inadequate tools. Ri's execution was political theater, not solution. The remaining Hwasong-12 inventory underwent emergency inspections. Engineers found similar navigation unit faults in 3 of 18 remaining missiles. 17% failure rate in uninspected inventory. If extended across entire program, North Korea's missile arsenal reliability was worse than believed. Those findings remained classified, but they influenced Kim's willingness to threaten missile strikes. Empty threats are dangerous when adversaries know they're empty. Modern weapons require industrial sophistication. North Korea lacks. You can't build reliable missiles without precision manufacturing, can't test adequately without resources, can't maintain quality without skilled workforce and supply chains. North Korea attempted to shortcut these requirements. October 27th proved shortcuts have consequences. Sometimes those consequences include your own missiles destroying your own territory. For nations developing indigenous weapons programs, North Korea provides cautionary example. Nationalism and determination aren't substitutes for capability. Propaganda can't overcome physics. Political pressure can't replace engineering rigor. The laws of aerodynamics and guidance systems don't care about ideology. They work or they don't. And when they don't, missiles fall on whoever happens to be underneath, including the nation that launched them. What weapons program should we examine next? What military capabilities deserve this kind of detailed technical analysis? Your comments drive our content decisions. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications enabled so you catch every investigation into military systems, tactical doctrines, and operational realities that mainstream coverage misses or oversimplifies.